My daughter B and I are going to do a cheer hair video today. We've had our first competition of the season, and we realized that we want a lot of height in our hair, and our team has decided to go half up, half down, curly. So to start with, I've put Brianna's hair up in a high ponytail. So what you want to do is pull it up from the ear. You draw a line, then turn around, honey. You're going to pull some hair up from the back as well. So if you notice, I've come up to here, and then I've scooped a bunch from the bottom part of the hair, and then come back around and pulled up from the ear as well. Then you bring it all up to the top of the hair and put a ponytail right in the center of her head. And that will ensure that you have good height. She has a lot of baby soft hairs here. So I have this argan oil, which is perfect for edges, it says. I got it from Sally Beauty, but Walmart also carries the kind of a oil slash kind of a paste to stick your edges down. And you just smooth it in like this. And you can take a toothbrush, or I use this kind of comb here that kind of pulls it all in. And then it just kind of smooths down all the little baby hairs. I will also go back over it with some hairspray to finalize it at the end to make sure that they all stay in place. But this works really well to hold it in. This is the first year I've used this, and I find that it doesn't, she doesn't end up with little baby wispies after all that work of smoothing out the hair and pulling it all up. So smooth it in with the comb up to the ponytail. Now I tried to do this after I already put the bow in. It didn't work because the bow was kind of sitting there. So I recommend putting the hair up first and then going ahead and smoothing it through. Now, we didn't curl it yet. Normally, the night before, we go through and we use curl formers. And I really recommend that you get some of these. We found ours on Amazon, and they were about $25. You can buy them from Sally Beauty as well, but they're a bit more expensive. So if you have time, it takes a couple weeks to come in. You can look on Amazon for them. So the way we do it is I get her hair wet the night before, and then we sit in front of the TV and watch a TV show while she is loading them up. So what she does is she slides it onto the little wand, and they're super, super easy to use. So then she makes sure that the hook is open, and then she passes it to me. It actually comes with 2 wands, so she can preload it. And if you just turn to the side of it. Now it is easier with wet hair, but you just take a tiny piece of the hair like this, just turn a little bit, and you're gonna hook it in like this and slide that up over the hair, and then just pull the rest of it through like that. And it stays and makes really, really nice curls. Now I also put this mousse in, which is a curl booster mousse from Herbal Essence, and it's in wet hair. Fill it up with the mousse and then put the curl formers in, and she'll sleep with it overnight. Now, she didn't like sleeping with them when it's all over her whole head down. So last year we had to have her hair up in a ponytail and curly. So we put it up first and then put the curl formers in, and she slept like that, which allowed the hair to kind of be above her head in the curl formers, and she was able to sleep. When I tried it this year for this style, we had to then take it out in the morning, and the bottom half wasn't quite as curly as we would have liked. So for our next competitions, we are going to put the curl formers, we're going to do this, put the curl formers in half up, half down, and have it so that maybe she can sleep on, there won't be any on the back of her head. So we'll let you know how that goes. Anyways, for this video, I'm going to go ahead and curl her hair with the curling iron, and then we'll come back. Okay, so I've gone through and curled her hair with the curling iron. The reason I don't love the curling iron is it just takes a really long time. So for us, our mini team usually performs fairly early in the morning, so I don't have a lot of time to do the curls. But your hair out of the curl formers will look just like this. Now, one thing that I realized I hadn't done was put a couple of hair elastics in that ponytail. So I go ahead and put 3 elastics in it, and it helps with the height. So I put that first one in, and I would probably put this in before the curl formers. And you may have to go through and curl again with the curling irons, whereas I find with the curl formers you don't really need to. So this is my third one, and you can see it's already got that height. Then you're going to put your bow in before you start the teasing process. So you line your bow up on the front like this, in the position you want. Just turn your head a bit here, honey. And then you're going to put the elastic around. So I put it over the ponytail, pull the ponytail through, and then start putting the elastic around. And I put that elastic underneath all of the other elastics so that the bow doesn't slide off in the middle of a jump or a tumble or anything in the routine. Turn around, and it will sit up the front. But you can see how where the bow sits, it's really hard to then get your oil in to smooth the little pieces. You will go ahead and spray that at the end as well. So now for the height, because you can see you can't see the ponytail, and the ponytail you actually get points for the higher hair, and if everybody has high hair it will look better as the team looks more uniform. So to start with, you're going to just turn sideways here. You're going to split the ponytail so that most of it is going forward. And that might be difficult, but you're going to have them put their head down just a little bit. And you're going to separate this first line into very thin pieces. So for this amount of hair, which if you laid it kind of flat is about half my finger length, I'm going to split that into 2 sections, very thin sections. Then I'm going to take my teasing comb, and you can buy this pack at Walmart. It comes with this comb and it comes with this teasing brush. The teasing brush here I find isn't as damaging on the hair itself. So turn around. Then you're going to lift the hair up, and I use a bit of both. So first I've started using this Sugar Dry Texture and Finishing Spray, and again, Sally Beauty. It will give it kind of thickness. One suggestion is to not have them wash their hair the night before, because then it's super clean. This will give it texture to help with the teasing, so it makes it a little bit stronger or thicker when you're teasing it. Open it properly. So spray the hair, and then you have to turn this way. What you're going to do is again section it into those 2 pieces. I take my Got to Be Glued hairspray and give it a little bit of a spray. Take your teasing brush, and you're going to hold up by where the curl is and tease down. Now I kind of spread it out a bit. Turn a little bit more the other way. Yeah. So I spread the hair a little bit like that and tease it, tease it, tease it, tease it, tease it. Now I don't go all the way up to the curl part because you just want that back part. And then I'll just pull it apart like that. Okay? I also like to use this hairspray. I just found it at Sally Beauty as well. Sebastian Super Plus. It's a super hold, and it doesn't make it too hard and crusty, but really holds it in place. So then I'll spray that part as well. And then go on to the next little section that you did. The smaller the sections, the higher your hair will get. When my first year of doing sheer hair, my mistake was I would try and do that all at once, and then the hair just kind of falls because it's too heavy. So again, hold it up. Tease, 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 and tease from the other side. And you can spray it Tease some more. Closer down to the root, the better. The bottom one hair you don't really see, but you do want these nice rat's nest in there. And see how you've kind of spread it apart? That'll give it a bit of a nice, no, just don't spin. Okay, just hit like that. And then I'll spray this one. Now you do want that hairspray to dry a bit in the position you want before you start the next layer. So then I will take, can you stop with your, she's flying while she's practicing her flying. So then you take your comb and separate the next layer out. And again, you see I'm not using a very thick piece. So I'll spray my texture right down by the roots. Pull it up through. Gives it a little bit of a sticky feeling. Spray the got to be glued in there. And start teasing. And coming from it at all sides, when it's at the back, is kind of important to get that height. If you just do it from underneath, you will, again, it will be too heavy. And you see how it kind of is starting to sit up in that nice kind of curve because of this rat's nest at the back, for lack of a better word. Now I do still pull it apart like that, because if you just do it in a ball in the one section, your hair isn't going to, your ponytail won't stay up. It'll be too heavily condensed in one section. So I'm going to go through and continue doing this row by row, and then I'll show you what to do the next part. So you do want to make sure as you go along that you don't go too far up. So you want to make sure that you leave a fairly good amount of hair that you can flip over that won't be teased, because you don't want to see this rat's nest. You want the ponytail to actually look very smooth and curly at the bottom. So the rat's nest is really just for the height. And so what we want to do is make sure that when we're pulling hair up from the ponytail, that we leave enough on the top front layer that it will cover all of that hair. Now you still need to make sure that you have enough height. So you can see it's starting to stand straight up. Turn around here. And you can see we're getting quite the height. And then I'm going to just make sure that I'm spraying it as I go, but keeping the height up. And I'm going to start working a little bit more on the side here. So you're going to start thinking, oh my gosh, what have I done to my child's hair? But just know that this is what is going to look great once it's done. And in order to get it all out, because there was a few girls' hair that I had to do yesterday that I'm sure their mothers are cursing me right now because their hair was a nightmare to get out. But the way Brianna does it is she just, can you not? She gets right into the shower, doesn't even try to brush it, and then dumps a whole whack load of conditioner on it, and then runs it all in and tries to do the brush herself. And if she can't, then I come in with a little wide tooth comb, this one actually, and just start picking it through. And it doesn't actually take long, and there's no tears. It comes out pretty easily. You just work lots of conditioner. This hairspray actually I really recommend you getting. It works really, really well. I ended up using it all day yesterday instead of the Got to Be Glued. And everybody's hair stayed up well. It was recommended as hair because it's a hairspray that people use, or hairdressers use for weddings. And of course, weddings tend to have to stay up all day. It's still very thick. You also don't want that front flippy piece to be too big because it will be too heavy and it will push the hair down. Okay, so I'm just gonna spread it out. Turn and look a bit the other way. Just gonna spread them out a little bit to make sure that they're a bit wider. Now, one other thing that I've come up with that seems to work really well. It works better if you have left some of these longer curls down here. But to help with this height, one thing you want to do is actually right at this part here is you want to tease up that part in there and spray it. It's going to become like a shelf that's going to help hold this hair out. So instead of pulling it up though and doing it, I would do it more this way. Also, I learned yesterday, don't do these pieces at the side because they start to then stick out around the side of the face and they don't look very pretty. So if you just do kind of about right where you took, turn sideways, right where you took that big chunk out to add to that ponytail, just right underneath there, do the shelf. So you're gonna kind of flip that back up, out of the way, keep your head down a bit. And I'm gonna start by taking this first one. Again, you're gonna do the same technique, just turn it like that, yeah. You're gonna spray that with the texture, and then a bit of the got to be blued, and tease it. Now it's really, really just, yes honey? Pinch my leg. What can I do for you? It's really, really just there. And then what I'm gonna do is take my small round bottle, hold it under, spread it out a bit. Actually, probably wanna spread it first. Hold it under, and then take your super duper wetting hold and spray it so that, and then hold it. And the reason you wanna hold it is then the hairspray gets to know what you need it to do. And holding it in position, once it dries, if you had a hair dryer, you could hair dry it, like blow dry it, it might be quicker. But when you take it out, then it becomes like that shelf. Just turn to the side of it so they can see. So you have this kind of shelf, and that should stay up once it's really dried. The key is to get that really dry. So then we're gonna go along and do the next section. No, not yet. So then turn around a bit. And this you can do a little bit wider. Turn a little bit that way a bit. Too much there. Yeah. You can do it a little bit wider than you're teasing up there, but I wouldn't recommend too big of too wide. Because again, you really want to make sure that teasing section stays tight. What are you doing? Just stand still. Thank you. And the teasing again. Don't go all the way down the bottom of that curl because you want to make sure those curls stay out and nice. And you can do some under. I just find the brush gets stuck and then it's a little hard to work with. So tease it as much as you can down. Spread it out. Stick that rounded object underneath, and you're going to join it with that other one in case it's still a little bit wet, and spray. And get down right by the roots if you can. Okay, you need this. Yeah, thank you. Again, you have to wait. So some of this can be a little bit time consuming and annoying for your daughter to hold still. So sometimes a device that she can be using in her hand, or we were playing The Greatest Showman and singing yesterday morning. So that was helping. Again, can you see, turn your head sideways, you see all the way through. And that's gonna become harder as it goes along. Also feeding your child while they are sitting there helps. Okay, so turn a bit more and we'll do the next section. So I will probably stop. This will probably be my last section for this because I don't really want it to be seen outside of this, this nice poof that's going to happen here. And I want it to, I still want the curls to come down. It works really well with long hair because the top poof the curls will come down and kind of hide that. Okay, so then I'm going to pull that apart. Sorry, honey. And put my hairspray bottle under. Now this textured spray, they actually make a powder that's actually for teasing, and I looked for it at Walmart. They didn't have it, and they were all out of it at Sally Beauty. So I have seen some videos where they use this textured powder, and it is the same idea that it makes it thicker. So when you're teasing it, it gives it some kind of grip, especially for kids that have really fine hair. It helps. Sorry. Okay, so if you just turn sideways briefly, so there's your shelf, and this one's still drying on the far side, but this one's pretty much dry. It's a little bit wet still too. So as that dries, like I said, it will get harder and harder. Now this is a bit of a... Okay, so we're going back up to the top pony tail. And this part here that I've left down, well here, this part here could be threaded out a bit. Maybe we'll, spray this a bit. Now I do want the curls, and again, that's why I don't love the curling iron, because the curls tend to not stand up to all of this teasing and manipulating, even if you don't touch the bottom of them. So hence why I was suggesting you leave quite a bit of these. So the idea is now we're going to kind of fold these over, but you do need to tease them from behind. So you don't want to tease the front of them, but you're going to tease the back to get them to stay up. And I'm going to use this textured spray to try and get them to be a bit more manageable. And tease a little bit, but not near as much as I did before. Spray a bit of this hairspray in there, and then flip it up and over. Now I will take this comb and try to smooth it out. This one actually works really well too. Like that. And you're going to take your next one. Actually, before I go on to that, I am going to spray that so it stays in place. Okay, and then I'm going to take this. Just see that. So if you have you can see the difference here. I've got this smooth part here, and then I've got this rat's nest here. But that's what was underneath here that we've now covered up. Again, you have to leave a fair amount of hair in the front, and that can be tricky if your daughter doesn't have a lot of hair.
I don't have a lot of hair.
But we do make do. So you're going to smooth that out and then just spray it so it stays in position. And we'll go over and do the other side. So I've left this here and that here. So this actually has to all cover up this section. So I'm going to have to be a little more creative. Now you see how that little rat's nest is kind of peeking out there. You can tuck it in and then wrap this one over so that it kind of covers it up. And once I get this one in place, then I will go around and tuck in the parts that need tucking. Push up the bow. Ooh, that's nice and smooth. Look at that one.
Way better than yesterday.
It's better than yesterday's, yeah. So what you want to do then is, if you go to the side here, as I'm going around now, I'm now going to maybe try and do some poofing up of this section here, because you can see there's a bit of a gap. Now, those curl formers, if you use them, will help with that. And you can take a curling iron to touch up these last little curls here. But again, depending on your timing, the curl formers, they just tend to stand up to that teasing and the manipulating and handling of the hair. But you do want like nice little curls coming down the back of this poof. So this part here, what I would probably do is I would come underneath here, spray a bit, but I would also tease a bit underneath. So you don't want that rat's nest look, but you do want to get that height and you want it to stay. So I push in and then pull my hairbrush down and push in, pull my hairbrush down. And if the curl formers are, and you gotta wanna do it underneath there as well. And what you might wanna do is go through and recurl with the curling iron. But this hair stood up all day. She competed at 10 o'clock, 10:30, and we had done the hair at 8 o'clock. And then she competed again at 2:30. And her hair was still high and still looking good. I think I might have sprayed it a bit with the white Sebastian again. So these little bits here, I would probably hairspray back, and I'm gonna spray the babies. Close your eyes. The babies back in, and
sprayed my ear.
Sorry, turn it that way. And then I'm going to give it an overall spray. Turn sideways. And you're going to spray those curls at the back as well. And as you spray, turn sideways. As you spray, you kind of want to lift them up and spray so that they stay out, right? And then you're going to hold it, because if you don't hold it, don't pick up that comb. They will fall back down. So you kind of want to hold it as it's going, and then once it's a little bit drier, then you can let it down. And then you can go through if there's any parts that seem to be splitting, and you can start to see the tease part. You can go through and just kind of smooth it out. Now we are able to do this hair under an hour, so it's not so bad in the morning. And that's our hair. And so if you want to turn around and have a look, that's the height that you want. And you can see, oh my God, that's beautiful. That's what we needed for yesterday. And you got the height above the bow. Very nice. Okay, I hope you enjoyed watching our video. Bye. Say bye.
Bye.